Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Lakeland. My name is Petra Sussman, and I use the pronouns she and her. We're glad you're here, whether in person or virtually. UUCL is an affirming community, and whatever your gender identity, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity, abilities, or theological beliefs, you are welcome here. We would love to get to know you better, so please join us after the service on the patio, or if on Zoom, please say hello through the chat feature. Our newsletter is published every Wednesday, and it is the main source of information for what goes on around here. So be sure to sign up. If you already receive it, be sure to read it to find out about all the great things that are happening here.
Well, just in case you haven't read it, let me announce a few things. Next week, for the worship service, we are doing flower communion, so bring a flower. It's an offering, and then at the end of the service, we all take a different flower. So just remember, bring a flower next week. It will also, there'll be a reminder in the newsletter this week. Today is actually the second Sunday. I had totally forgotten until I saw Sandy in the parking lot, and she says, "Is today potluck?" Who remembered it was potluck? Okay, so we might have some food for potluck today. All right. You know, it's okay. We're not perfect. Also, we do have a booth at our First Friday events, which is the first Friday in downtown Lakeland. So if you are interested in helping out with that, please see Blaisel or Ambra, and they will put you in a volunteer slot on some month on some Friday. Let's see. Okay, important to know. Next week, after the flower communion, we are going to have a town hall meeting to discuss bylaw changes and the annual meeting agenda. So please come to this if you want to know what we're going to be voting on the following week at our annual meeting. Because we will call a special meeting to vote on the bylaw changes before the annual meeting so that we can then have the annual meeting. Okay, if this is confusing, please talk to Melissa. Thank you.
And not to you.
Right. Also, we are involved in the Polk Pride, Pride in the Park, and the Pride and Faith service. So the Pride and Faith service is going to be Thursday, June 16th at 7 p.m. Brandon and I will be speaking, and we'll have choir members singing, and of course any of you are invited to sing in the Polk Pride Choir. So if you're interested in that, ask Adam about that, and he'll give you the information. And then we'll have a tent on Saturday, June 19th at the downtown Polk Pride event. So please be sure to come on out and volunteer for that. Let myself or Brandon know if you are interested in that. May 28th is a Saturday. We are having a celebration of life service for our longtime member, Portia Westerfield Kroll, who passed away recently. So Jim and I and Dorothy are planning that. It'll be a sort of a day-long celebration of Portia's awesome life. Oh, and one more thing. We're having an annual dinner this year. Be a little bit different than some years, but we're just so glad that we can actually have it. It's going to be on a Wednesday night, June 8th, here in the sanctuary. And I think it's going to be potluck. Yes, okay. It's going to be a potluck dinner, and I think there's also going to be karaoke. Yeah, I'm really excited. So be sure to join us for that. Okay. During this month of May, our worship and programming theme is Nurturing Beauty. So join me as we continue this journey together, taking in a deep breath, entering into the sacred space where we celebrate our connected circle of life. Breathe in, feeling the spirit of love and the center of your soul and breathe it out. Breathe out that love towards all of your relations. Connected, we are whole. Please join me in our opening song, The Morning Has Come.
And it goes like this. Morning has come, night is away, rise with the sun and welcome the day. Morning has come, night is away, rise with the sun and welcome the day.
If anyone recognizes that horn sound, you could go out and take care of it. These are opening words, Earth and All, by Reverend Dr. David Breden. We join together, bringing both our shadow and our light. We join together, opening our minds and our hearts. We join together, embracing, celebrating, sharing the beauty of each, the beauty of self, the beauty of the earth, the beauty of all. Let us signify the creation of this sacred space where we join together to nurture beauty. Let us light our chalice, the symbol of our faith. Our chalice lighter today is Gail Rushford, and I will be reading Nurturing Beauty by Reverend Suzelle Lynch. Our community is filled with beauty. When you open the door to greet me, that's where the beauty begins. When you share with me what's important to you, beauty is there as I listen. When we join hands to practice compassion, beauty's heart blooms like a flower. When we teach or learn or work for justice, beauty abounding sparks joy in all. Let's light the chalice for beauty now, the beauty we seek, the beauty we share, the beauty we nurture together. Please join us in singing and signing Spirit of Life, hymn number 123.
joys and sorrows that run throughout all of our lives. We engage in this ritual every week as a way to nurture and as a way to heal, knowing that we are all in this together. During the Civil War, abolitionist, activist, poet, and Unitarian Julia Ward Howe tended to the injured soldiers from both sides. After the war, she continued to tend to the families that fallen soldiers had left behind. The devastation from war inspired her to write, in 1870, a Mother's Day proclamation, a call to women around the world to bring peace. 152 years later, we continue to witness the atrocities of war. So on this Mother's Day, during this time for sharing sorrows, I will read an excerpt from our ancestor, Julia Ward Howe's Mother's Day proclamation. She wrote, "Arise then, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether our baptism be that of water or of tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We, women of one country, will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. Just take a moment for the people of Ukraine and in other parts of this world, and hope for peace. I'll invite you up now to the chalice table to place stones in the water for the joys and sorrows that you carry with you today. The green stone is for joy, the white is for concern, and the blue is for sorrow. If you are on Zoom, we will say your name and put a stone in for you so that we all know that we are together and connected, striving towards wholeness. If you want a specific color stone put in for you, please say so in the chat. Otherwise, we'll put in a green stone because it's a joy to have you with us today. You are welcome to come up and weave together our joys and our concerns and our sorrows. Zoom, Jane Eskenazi, Judy Howe, and my own mother, Maggie McClelland.
Well, she has some concern. I'm not quite sure what it is, but there is a concern. Because we didn't agree.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad there's a lot of joy today on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. Happy Mother's Day to my mom in Houston. Technology is amazing. Come with me today in these few precious moments that we have together. Come with me to a place of beauty where you can be yourself and feel yourself being nurtured. In this place of beauty, right here together, with our ancestors at our back and future generations before us, you can find the inspiration and the call to nurture others. Be in this sacred space today where beauty can come to fruition within us, around us, between us. Today, we will nurture beauty through song, poetry, reflection, and sharing. Today is Mother's Day. It is a day to honor those that mothered us. To mother is to nurture. Today is a day to remember and hold gratitude for all of those that have nurtured us into being. Today is a day to remember so that we may continue this legacy of nurturing. And as it so happens, today is also a day of abundant sunshine. That's what the weather app told me yesterday when I opened it up. Abundant sunshine. Well, that's joyful. Sunshine, the source that nurtures all of life, is abundant today. Look out the window. Let it nurture you. Meet it with gratitude and feel your unique beauty growing inside of you. A unique beauty that has been nurtured and that continues to nurture. Prudence, written by the Beatles, is a song which calls us to awaken to the simple beauty around us, to recognize ourselves as a part of that beauty, and to nurture our own unique beauty within. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you. The wind is low, the birds will sing that you are a part of everything. Won't you come out to play? It's a song that invites us to nurture beauty through play. What a beautiful thought on this Mother's Day. To play with a child is one of the most nurturing behaviors we can engage in. It is rewarding not just for the child, but also for us grown-up humans. In this moment of connection, we are reminded that life at its best is so much about play, about nurturing one another, and about joy. Let us take a moment to think of our own mothers, grandmothers, and any person, female, male, neither, or someone non-binary, who played with and nurtured us. Breathe in as we remember the nurturers, as we remember the ways in which we were nurtured through play, the ways we were nurtured and made to feel beautiful. Mothering is complex. There are perfect and imperfect ways to nurture, all a part of the sacred circle of life. Let us be grateful for all who nurture the beauty inside of us. So then we can ask ourselves, how do we return the gift? In what ways did we learn how to nurture others? In what ways do we help others see the beauty in themselves? In what ways do we play in this interconnected world so that beauty is nurtured within, amongst, and between us? Choir, please serenade us with "To See the World." And congregation, please join us the second time. When you are being nurtured, or when you are nurturing? What does it take to nurture? What are the characteristics we embody in the process of nurturing? I have what they call a black thumb. Not green, it's black. It's maybe getting greener. It's unfortunate and it's challenging. It would seem as though I am unable to lovingly nurture my plant friends. I'm getting better, I really am. But I love plants and I dream of a beautifully landscaped garden full of native florative plants that then nurture our pollinators and our birds and thus the planet. It's a beautiful dream, but it's not my reality yet. The thing is, engaging in this plant nurturing thing and not giving up has taught me a whole heck of a lot about what it takes to be a nurturer. It's really made me think about all the characteristics that we need to gather and embody while nurturing, and to keep engaging those things in all of life. Plants can be finicky things. They need just the right amount of sunlight, water, minerals, soil drainage, pH levels, temperatures, and even trimming, pruning, and deadheading. And they're all different. Each one requires a certain kind of care, and one must be thoughtful about the care given to each individual species. Indeed, to nurture a plant requires curiosity. One must be curious about what it needs in order to live its most beautiful life. When one starts to learn what a plant needs and to nurture it in these learned ways, one must have patience as the plant grows. The plant, with proper nurturing, can bloom and fruit and provide the world with beautiful gifts. Have you ever seen a cacao tree? It's so strange. The flowers actually grow on the trunk, not on the branches, which means the fruit, the pods, and the seeds that chocolate is made from also grow on the trunk. The cacao tree is not only a beautifully strange-looking tree, but beautifully strange in its nurturing requirements. Cacao trees can only be grown in equatorial regions or in a greenhouse specifically set up to nurture these special plants. The trees bloom, forming these pretty little dime-sized pink and white star-shaped flowers all over their trunks when they are about 4 to 6 years old and 5 feet tall. Because they evolved as an understory crop, they can't have too much sun or too much shade. The soil must be deep and well-drained with a very specific pH range. And a cacao tree must have plenty of water. But what's really strange about the cacao tree growing process is the way that it's pollinated. And it's actually still a bit of a mystery. The small flowers on the trees that create the pods that produce the chocolate are quite difficult to pollinate because of the way they are shaped. Each petal curves into a tiny hood. This hood fits down around the plant's male pollen-making structure. A honeybee cannot reach this pollen. They are not the pollinators for cacao trees. Tiny flies, not much bigger than a poppy seed, are thought to pollinate cacao trees. That's as far as scientists can tell. They're known as chocolate midges, and they are a part of a family called biting midges. Lovely. So these midges crawl up into the flowers' hoods, and they do something. But according to one scientist, what they do, it's still a mystery. The flower offers those midges no nectar to drink, and researchers haven't found a scent that lures the midges in. Maybe there's this little reddish part in the flower, maybe that offers a nutritious snack for bugs, but nothing has confirmed this yet. Much curiosity we must have to figure out the mystery of these tiny midges in the cacao flowers. Much time, patience, and care must go into nurturing these trees. But the reward is great. We nurture these cacao trees and we get cocoa powder. And from there, we can make chocolate. What a delicious gift of beauty. But it has not been without ancestors and thousands of years of their deep wisdom that we received the gift of chocolate. When the Europeans invaded Mesoamerica, they learned about the cacao tree and chocolate making from the Mayans and the Aztecs. But it has recently been discovered that humans in the upper Amazonian region of South America were actually the ones to have domesticated and thus nurtured this tree about 5,450 years ago. Thousands of years of wisdom, of patience, curiosity, and nurturing have gone into producing what we now call chocolate. As one archaeologist, Sonia Zarillo, puts it, the takeaway here isn't just about chocolate. Like everything else, it's about people. For hundreds of years, the people of the Amazon have been portrayed as these very simple people, intellectually, but also in their social formation, living in small tribes, moving from place to place. We think they barely eke out a living, always on the brink of death. And what's been emerging is that no, these people had very sophisticated culture. They weren't just barely surviving in the Amazon. They'd actually transformed the Amazon into their living garden. Yes, as it turns out, they were well aware of how to nurture life and to nurture beauty. We are all nurturers of life when we invest time and patience, curiosity, and learning. Engaging in this way, we eventually nurture within ourselves the wisdom it takes to nurture beauty all around. A mothering spirit lives in us all. With our ancestors at our back and the future generations before us, we are nurtured and we are nurturers.
The last phase of womanhood is represented by the old, wise, holy woman, the crone. This chant we are about to sing honors the crone. It calls on the old wise ones to give their blessings and words of wisdom. Crone and sage, crone and sage, wisdom's gift is start over. Crone and sage, wisdom is a gift of age. Sage and crone, wisdom's gift shall be our own.
Thank you, crone and sage. May we nurture with curiosity and patience so as to gain the wisdom the world needs for a full blossoming of its beauty. I'd like to invite our Poet of the Week, Keno Hicks, up to read his poem.
Where's it? This one. When I first came here, I was given freedom and encouragement to learn from other religions, not necessarily to condemn other religions. And from the Hindus, I learned that God has many forms, including feminine, and many names. And among the Hindus, a person is free to choose their own personal name for God. So my personal name for God is the creating force that's still working among us today. And Heather invites the creating force to come and be here in many ways. And one of the ways is to invite us to write poems. So today, for Mother's Day, I have written this poem, Ode to Mother God. Praise be to that other force, the mother force. Some say only a he is holy, but from that notion we can be free. Mother God, she is a key. I will tell you something that make you feel jolly. By golly, humanity's ma be, she will make you feel jolly. Feel like being on a speeding trolley. By golly, ma be will make you feel jolly. Just acknowledge her, and she will make you purr. Inside you she will bestir a sweet scent of myrrh, and the feel of soft fur. It really can occur. She is free to see for me and thee. Let us call her forth in glee. She is the Hindu goddess Kali, the ancient Jewish queen of heaven, Ruah, the Christian Mother Mary, the pre-Islamic wife of Allah named Alat, the Chinese goddess of mercy, Kuan Yin, the Hindu goddess of justice, Kamala, Mother Earth. Praise be to that other force, the Mother Force.
Praise be to that Mother Force. Kino, I thank you for this line because indeed it opens us up to something more, something that lives inside all of us. The call to nurture life and its infinite manifestations of beauty. Mothering is a force, and it does not live only in the female aspect of a gender binary. Gender is a complex spectrum, and the mother force, the call to nurture, lives with us no matter where we find ourselves on that spectrum. Yes, a mothering spirit lives in us all. With our ancestors at our back and the future generations before us, we are nurtured, and we are nurturers. So today, as we are gathered in this sacred space to feel nurtured, I am asking all of you to feel nurtured. I am asking all of you, what beauty are you called to nurture? Take a minute to think about it and think about something that you can briefly share. I am called to nurture this community. Certainly takes curiosity to nurture a community, to learn about all of you, your needs and desires, your spiritual yearnings. And it takes a great deal of patience to learn how to stay in covenant and communicate with one another so that our relationships are not only good, but creative and nurturing. So I want to know what you are called to nurture. How do you nurture beauty, thus becoming a part of the sacred process of life? Well, you're invited to come up to this mic here and just briefly share what you're called to nurture. It can be the simplest of things, really, because it's all a part of the sacred thing we call beauty.
Feel free to start. Being the stay-at-home dad, obviously I'm directly called to nurture for my two boys, Wesley and Ethan, and I love doing that. And of course I've learned a lot from my own mother, who was a nurse. Happy Nursing Week, people who are nurses out there. One of my strongest memories being with her is when we were in Taiwan, and a rock slide had hit a car. And I was able to get my mother to the car. She was there tending to the people while I was translating Chinese. And then Yishin's mom was able to help out and get some warm coats for people. And I, of course, love to do the same thing, nurturing and taking care of people who need you the most. Thank you.
Okay, what I'm called to nurture is my cat, Tobias and Angela, and my plants, because blessedly I do have a green thumb.
Might kind of sound selfish, but this week has probably been more about nurturing myself because some things that have happened, and I grew up in a dysfunctional family, and I'm trying to realize that, like, it is, and it is what it is, and just see the truth of that, and not let it be as big of a deal, and try to nurture myself instead of worrying about people who don't really care about me. Yeah.
I try to nurture myself by nurturing others.
Mine is kind of seeing the sign. My two sons, they bought these plants on Mother's Day. Like one was maybe 2 years ago, another 2 years ago. One, I don't remember his name. The other one is an orchid from last year. It was like it had 2 or 3 flowers, then they dropped. It's kind of like settled. And I took on me that like take care of that orchid, that it blooms again. And this Mother's Day, it bloomed, and that was my gift to my wife. Said, for you. And the other plant also it blooms, and every time it blooms, I take a picture in terms of because she complains that no matter what she does, the plants die. She cannot take care of that. And I said, like, honey, there is love in this house, and with your love, I can nurture this and these plants in a big way. So.
Well, thank you for sharing. I know you are all nurturers, and you will find that thing that you are nurturing. And I just want to lift up that absolutely you have to nurture yourself. You're no good. You're no good to anybody else if you're not nurturing yourself. And so that is part of what we have come here today and always to do, is to nurture ourselves, our souls, our hearts, our minds. Thank you. Glenda, would you please lead us in a song? Help us process this emotion, this nurturing.
not come upon the moment when we can share our treasures with this community as an act of faith. When we each give what we can back to life, we serve a greater good, creating a powerful beauty that can change the world. Before we pass the plates, we invite up to share with us today Jim Kroll, who will tell us why he gives to this UUCL community. I saw him here. There he is.
There are 7 days in the week.
Oh, Jim, can you come up here for us, please? Thank you. We can hear you and see you better.
There's 7 days in the week, and if left to my own demise, they would all be the same, and the world would flash by, and I would sense that time has been lost. I struggle with using 2 parts of my body or my mind. At a lot of religions, the keynote talks about the yin and the yang. So you think during the week and you struggle with getting breakfast ready, getting to work, communicating with the people that you need to get your job done, your wife, your family. And then you go home and you try to nurture your spiritual self, perhaps by reading, by thinking, by exploring, by talking to your neighbors. But it's easy to for me, to get out of balance. I come here because it is loving, an environment where I like the coffee, I like the sermons, I like the lay presentations. I've never seen such wonderful ways in which people express how they live their lives, and they share that. This is such a wonderful place to come to make the other 6 days, which I struggle to find my own balance. Here I don't need to have a balance. It is a spiritual growth, and I accept that. And I explore that, and I really enjoy talking to each and every one of you. Thank you.
While our ushers pass the plates for your offering, our musicians will serenade us. Thank you very much, Jim. That was beautiful.
Jim got me in tears. Well, we've reached that part of this service that I know you've been waiting for. The chocolate communion. Communion is about unity. It is about remembering. Let us all remember those who nurtured us, our own mothers and grandmothers, even fathers and grandfathers and others. Let us remember the ancestors that came before us. and the long line of nurturers that have existed for thousands of years. And let us take communion together to bind us together in love as a community that nurtures others, nurtures life, nurtures beauty for the future to come. I'm going to invite you up to the table to get a piece of chocolate. We have quite a selection. We have milk chocolate and we have dark chocolate. And for those of you that don't like chocolate, I know you're out there. Sorry. We have, what are those, caramel rice cakes and, oh, Teddy Grahams. Yeah, and it looks like some kind of gluten-free cracker. Okay, and because we're a lot of fun around here, we have chocolate wine. We even have some like chocolate liqueur. This is what happens when you send these Crone and Sage out to go get stuff from the Yes, and we have chocolate almond milk, chocolate cow's milk, and grape juice. So hopefully there is something for everyone, and you are welcome to come up now, and these lovely women will help you take communion as we remember those who nurtured us and those that we nurture. Come forth, the chocolate awaits. make sure to get your chocolate, okay? You deserve it. Well, while we're waiting for Petra to be done nurturing, so that's okay, take your time. Baisal just informed me of a couple important events that are happening this week, ways we can be in the world to nurture. Tuesday, there's a school board meeting, and they're voting on those books that they're trying to ban. Show up. And they need more of us there. And next Saturday at noon in Munn Park is a protest. What's it called, Baisal? It's over the Roe versus Wade.
Yes.
Reproductive rights.
Ban of our bodies rally march, Saturday, 5:14 to afternoon at Mont Park. There'll be speakers, rally, and then march.
Okay, that's next Saturday, noon, at Mont Park. And voice of
We
God.
could not hear Basel in
You
Zoom.
could not hear Faisal. Ban back off our bodies, is that it? Ban off our bodies. Ban off our bodies. Noon. Mont Park, thank you. Petra.
Okay, the paper says, chocolate nurtures, communion is about. Closing words. Is that what I'm supposed to say? No. Okay, these are the closing words. I haven't even had wine. This is a gardening prayer by Reverend Janice, Dillon. It begins with words by May Sarton. Help us to be always hopeful gardeners of the Spirit, who know that without darkness, nothing comes to birth. As without light, nothing flowers. And then Janice Dillon's words. O Spirit of soil and sunlight, endless energy of growth, cycle of life and death and rebirth, God of small things and great, help us to be the always hopeful gardeners of the Spirit. Help us to prune back our worst impulses, the parts of ourselves that can lead to needless hurt in others. Help us to trim back our greed, root out our apathy. If we find we are overshadowing anyone else's growth by our own selfish desires, help us to lessen ourselves and make room for others. And help us to grow all the good things of our lives. God, we see around us so many examples of abundant beauty. We do not know if we could create such beauty on our own, but we don't need to. No, we partner with you, with the wind and the rain and the soil and sunlight to bring forth beauty. So we are encouraged that we might participate in grace, that we might dig a little trench where the seeds of kindness may be planted. We know there is a time of waiting in all things, when we rest in darkness. Sometimes that time of waiting can be days or weeks or even years. Help us to see the darkness's role in germinating new wonder into the world. Help us to see the small sprigs of joy and meaning that are struggling to rise from the ground. Let us be gardeners of the Spirit. Let us tend to this gentle power that has helped us become who we are and nourishes us always, even unto the end. In our daily acts, we strive to serve the growth of life and of goodness and of love. We are proud to serve and delighted to see the natural magnificence that is our portion and our inheritance, the growth of all the good and beautiful things in this life. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me as we extinguish the chalice, which already went out, but she's going to pretend. We need the